What is going on, my friends? So today we are ranking all epic armors in the game, and this is of course my personal opinion. This is not an objective truth, so if you disagree somewhere, it is perfectly fine. So without any further ado, let's start with the first piece, which is the Wicked Sister Salty Gown, or whatever way you want to call it. Let's show this piece to you. At Fusion 10, 100% chance to apply blind to the enemy upon their tag in. You get speed once you apply blind to an enemy. Melina has 40% chance once negative effects happen to her to obtain 0.5 bars of power. And when you fight against an opponent who tags in, he loses 10% of their health, and this is basically applied to you. So in a way, you're stealing their health. It only works 5% against bosses, so the effect is halved. Now, this piece is not bad. I wouldn't say it is godlike though. I would place this piece. I use it sometimes, but the point is, there are certain good things about this piece and certain bad things about this piece. I am really, I don't know where to place it. It's super weird. But I'm going to place it as good piece. I'm sorry, I like the blind. I like the speed for 15 seconds. However, it really works that well at Fusion 10. The effect on Melina is not that great at the moment because we don't even have a good fighter of Melina. And the 10% reduction on the health, for something that unlocks at Fusion 10, it is just not that great. So I'm going to put this as a good piece. I use it quite often in certain situations, but the general rule is I don't believe this is one of the very best pieces in the game when it comes to armors. Varmint Ace in the Hole is straight ahead a godlike piece. Guys, I use that piece all the time. Let me show it to you right now. 300% recovery boost, awesome. Apply shield break on opponent tagging for 15 seconds. This is so much better than the blind and the speed, because if they have shield break and they tag, you just one-shot them in a lot of cases if you have power. Then Erin Black has this duel thing, which is super annoying. Probably a lot of you know that. Once you're in this duel, Erin Black has 70% chance to dodge any special attack, so it's rough. And look at this, once per match, when the character receives fatal damage, gain invulnerability for 10 seconds, and 1 bar of power for your last shot. Character is not able to tag out during invulnerability. This piece is so great. It works in so many different situations. I absolutely love this piece. One of the situations that it is working, for instance, if you have the Scepter plus the Weather Warfare, they just tag in, they freeze, and they have shield breaks, so just one-shot them with the little hits. It's absolutely incredible. And on top of everything, you cannot die. It makes sure that you don't die. And you have recovery boost. The only problem I have with this piece is that it works bad with the AI, because the AI won't tag out after the invulnerability expires, usually. Yeah, you're going to get killed. If you could tag out once this invulnerability was still going, it would have 0 issues. But currently it has just 1. Varren Jacket. Alright, let's review the Varren Jacket, because I know a lot of people will be actually putting this piece as an S. 35% chance to dodge a special attack, okay, 40% chance opponent basic attack critical hits deal heal for 50% of the incoming damage instead of dealing damage, and damage received from special attacks is halved. I reckon this piece is going to be in a great tier. Now, the problem I have with this piece is that generally I don't want to eat special attacks, but let's be real, 50% reduction damage on special attacks and 35% chance to dodge a special attack is quite substantial. So this piece goes to the great tier. Now the next piece is a Tamer Hessian Boots. Let me show that piece to you guys. 55% max health boost, 30% power generation boost. Sindel has chance to scream and apply slow if some special attack is dealt to you. If the opponent is affected by any debuff, there is deal 40% less damage from the special attacks against the user. Now, the previous piece, literally, it's giving me special attacks reduction by 50%. No matter what, this piece, it's giving me 40% only if the opponent is affected by any debuff. Yeah, I'm not really a fan of that piece. So I do recommend it for certain let's say builds that include Sindel and she's screaming, but generally I think that there are better pieces in the game. I wouldn't really use that piece. The only really great thing about this piece is the power generation, and more or less that's it. That leads me to the next piece, which is the Shadow Sash, guys. The Shadow Sash is pretty decent. Look at this. Take 20% less special attack, and extra fatal blow attack damage. Total trash. 40% opponent unblockable attack chance reduction, only good for auto mode, and 100% chance to apply blind to an enemy team at the start of the match. That is the best thing about the Shadow Sash. And this is the reason why I'm going to put it as decent. I am kind of inclined to put it as a trash, but blind at the beginning of the game, in a lot of cases, is super useful. For instance, if you want to charge classic rain stacks and so on and so forth. Alright, the next piece is the Killer Jacket, guys. The Killer Jacket, 60% toughness boost, 100% chance to gain shield after suffering from lethal blow, gain shield at the start of the match. Again, this is a piece that is kind of decent. It's not really super bad, but I'm going to put it as in good tier. It is very situational. Certain characters require toughness, such as Ronin Kitana, and any character that has naturally high toughness, so they'll benefit from that piece, but I wouldn't really place it as great or a godlike. It is just not there yet. So the next piece is the Geek Defense. 400% recovery boost, 60% chance to regeneration after doing special 2, and teammates are healed for 20%. I mean, this is quite good. It's very defensive, but in my opinion, it's go for great. The regeneration of special 2 is quite good, the recovery is quite good, and the ability to heal the rest of the teammates is super useful. So this piece goes to great tier. The next one is the Frost Mask. It increases your health 55%. After defeating an opponent, apply Frostbite on their teammates for 15 seconds. Sub-Zero applies Frostbite in the beginning of the match. And 50% opponent unblockable chance reduction. Now let's be real. The first thing, again, 55% max health boost. I mean, it's just okay, nothing special. Sub-Zero applying Frostbite on an enemy team is very good, by the way. The Frostbite after defeating the enemies is very good. And the opponent unblockable chance reduction is just not good enough. So I really don't know where to place this piece. I really don't. Definitely not trash, definitely not decent. I think it has more value than the pieces that I placed as good. And it's not that situational, so in my opinion it goes great tier. The next piece is the famous fashion Dominator. Again, we have health increase, 70% chance to apply bleed to an opponent before using special attack against the user. I don't want anybody to apply to do special attacks on me, and blind is the last thing that... I mean, it is going to be helpful in certain situations, but let's be real. Johnny Cage stacks power generation up to 5 times, which is quite good. And gain energy shield when below 80% health. Energy shield reduces all incoming damage when the user loses health. The more health is lost, the higher is energy shield damage reduction. Now, this piece is pretty good on Johnny. I would completely disregard the first 2 effects. I don't care. I don't care about the first 2 effects. I don't even care about the last effect. I mean, it gives me minus 50% damage reduction. It's not really great at all. So the only thing good about this piece is the power generation for Johnny. And the reality is, I never like this piece. I never use it, so I'm going to put it right here as good. Sorry, I'm not a fan of this piece. A lot of people probably would disagree, but it is my ranking. If you want to do your ranking, create a YouTube channel, do your ranking. That's going to be perfectly fine. Alright, the next one is the Adenan Force Rejection Field. So let me show that piece to you. Health is increased and restored by 20% after performing any special attack. You can do it 3 times. So you generate about 60% of the health. Opponents affected by blind have a 70% chance to also miss during special attacks. This one is quite good because the percentage is high. I mean, 70% chance to miss special attack is quite good. Then 50% chance to reflect any debuff back to an opponent. Team debuffs are not affected. I don't think that this piece is godlike, but 50% chance to reflect any debuff and 70% chance to miss special attack. I reckon this is quite cool. So I'm going to put this piece as great. It deserves it, in my opinion. The next piece is Dramin Mask. Finally, you can find it, by the way, in the Cryptus drop. 20% less basic attack damage. Oh my god, this is so bad. 30% opponent critical hit chance reduction. 30% resistance to lethal blow. Oh, this is so bad. 50% factional wars. This is, guys, I know probably going to say that I'm crazy, but this piece, for me, has no value at all. Probably for some people that are grinding survival mode, they really try to catch up with the ranking, this piece will go at least good, but I don't play survival mode at all. I just play sometimes if I'm in the mood to just do one run so I can get to Contender Elite or something, so I can get like 3 or 4 Dragon Crystals, only if I'm in the mood to do that. So for me, the only useful thing about this piece is the fact that it increases the damage, it increases the Faction Wars points. But again, Faction Wars is the worst game mode when it comes to rewards in this game. I can agree that's probably the funniest game mode. I mean, you have all the bone shields to deal with. But when it comes to rewards, it is the least rewarding game mode out of the 3. So increasing your score there, it's not really that useful. Let's be real. That's for me, of course. You're free to disagree. The next one, by the way, this is where I put the Dramin Mask down to trash. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. The next one is the Divine Argus Cloak. 55% max health boost, 100% chance to apply random negative effect to opponent who performed a block breaker attack against the user. Okay, so the max health boost, not a big deal. The second effect though is a big deal. The rain effect, 50% chance to apply soaked to spread it to the entire team, is a big deal. So MK11 rain can team soak on special 1, classic rain can team soak on special 2, and they have to do them just once, which is quite cool. And then 15% chance to gain invulnerability for 5 seconds. Now, because I've been using that piece so many times, I'm going to place it as great. Only for the fact that those 50% chance to soak to spread is a game changer. It is a super game changer. So definitely it requires to be here. The 50% chance for Johnny is good, but I don't consider it that valuable compared to this one. Alright, let's see. The next piece that we are going to see, guys, is... I know it's going to be wonderful, but this is the Bloody Shotgun Armor. Wow, 20% chance to effect 100% special attack damage when blocking. Oh my god. 10% damage boost, 70% opponent critical hit chance reduction. I would never use that piece. Like, 10% damage boost to faction wars is laughable. 20% chance to reflect 100% special attack when blocking. For people who are blocking, this might be good. But, for one thing, if they're critting, I want them to kill themselves by critting or something. I don't know. No, I just don't use that piece. I haven't used that piece for years, and I believe it is incredibly outdated. It has to be reworked. This is all I want to say about this piece. It's simply not good enough. And the next piece, though, is a Crypt Armor. It is the Necromancer Death Favor. Look at this. 55% maximum health boost, of course, it's Fusion 5, Fusion 10. 50% opponent unblockable attack chance reduction. So far, those two things are not really that great. They're only good for auto mode. Green skull appears on the head of the current enemy with a 95% chance after performing special attack 1. This skull charges with green energy after the user's every successful combo ender. It explodes after the third combo ender, applying slow and dealing high damage to the opponent. Yeah, whatever. Each next special attack deals 15% more damage than the previous one. Stacks up 4 times. I'm going to put this thing into 60% that special attack increase, a Quan Chi doing stuff on combo enders, and then we have max health. 60% special attack. This is the only thing that I'm going to put it as decent. I'm sorry, I'm not a fan of this piece, not at all. I wouldn't say it's one of the very best pieces in the game. And so far, as you can see, there is only one godlike armor. An armor that I'm using like literally all the time. But the next one is going to change that. Look at this piece is incredible. The thing that unlocks at Fusion 10 is trash. The user explodes dealing damage. I don't care about that at all. However, the first two effects are godlike. First thing first, you apply Team Fire that stacks. So in a way you have something like MK11 Scorpion passive, which is one of the best passives in the game. And then you have chance to get 0.5 bars of power when opponent resisted the buff, which is exceptionally good against bosses. So you have a piece that is super good in more or less any fight where they are not immune to dots. And then you have a piece that is exceptional when they resist dots, which happens all the time against bosses. So yeah, I believe this is one of the very best pieces in the game. And this is the reason why I'm going to rank it as godlike. It is absolutely busted, one of the very best armors in the game. The next one is the Bloodmaster Iron Curtain, another piece that I use in my real deal team. It increases the maximum health, you can ignore that. Bleed though applies to the enemy lasts longer, which is great. Scarlet has chance to convert damage to health on special attack 1 and immunity to all dots. So I reckon this piece has its merit, so I'm going to place it right here into great. I wouldn't say it's godlike, but definitely deserves to be among the great armors in the game. The next piece is the Living Dead. Now, probably going to say I'm going to rank the Living Dead as godlike, but I am not. Now, the Living Dead has one of the very best things in the game, that it gives you invulnerability and actually resurrects you at... it doesn't resurrect you, just give you... Actually resurrects you, I'm sorry. So it resurrects you, and it does work at Fusion 0, which is great. I hope they're not going to rework it, because currently it's great. The problem is, though, the two effects, the other two effects are trash. Apply bleed when resurrecting, and you unlock that fusion 10. At least let it be team bleed. That would make more sense. And 42% self-heal and a special attack tree. It just was useful to me once in one battle. So this piece goes to great because of the effect it has at Fusion 0. The resurrection at Fusion 0 is a game changer and it's super, super useful. The next piece is the Cold-Hearted Ninja's Dark Cryomancy. Alright, so 46% chance to apply Curse when hitting a frozen opponent. Okay. 52% opponent unblockable attack chance reduction while he's affected by Curse. So that mark, again, only good for auto. Sub-Zero has a very high chance to actually to evade the special attack and then do massive damage, which is quite cool. And each successful critical hit reduces the damage received to opponents by 2%, and it gives you 40% damage reduction. I wouldn't say that this piece is incredible, but it is absolutely busted on Sub-Zero. It is totally busted on Sub-Zero. So I'm going to place it as great. Everywhere else it just ranks as good or even decent, but because it is godlike on Sub-Zero, I'm going to place it here as great. I mean, you can do massive damage with that piece only by evading. It is so good for any game mode. And in Fusion 0, the chance of you evading stuff is just 60%. It is crazy. So every single fusion gives you 1% on top. So on top of everything, this piece is exceptional at Fusion 0. Absolutely godlike. The next piece is the Scoundrel Cybernetic Heart. Basically, you have chance to heal on basic attacks. Then you have incoming damage reduction when the user is below 55% health. No, I'm sorry, that's... A 10% damage boost for each heal stacks up to 4 times, so up to 40% damage boost. And then regenerate 3 bars of power over 15 seconds below 60% health. And this effect cannot be triggered more than 1 time without tagging out 3 times per match. It's difficult to rank that piece. I don't think it's... I don't even think it's great now, because the best effect locks at Fusion 3. And there is another blue piece that does it better. So I'm going to place this good. It is just... yeah, probably top tier good piece. It's underwhelming. Just the effect is super underwhelming because a blue piece does it better, and it doesn't have to be maxed out. So, anyways, God Helper's Tanuki, guys. This is arguably the best armor in the game, especially when it comes to epics. It is this armor and the Burning Vengeance, I believe. Now, this armor has one kind of useless effect, the 45% max health boost. However, there is a very good chance you can disfusion 5, so that's mid-fusion. You have 75% chance when attack to have luck and the enemy to be affected by weaken for good, unless somebody, of course, dispels it. So if they don't dispel it, I have it for good. Fujin has chance to summon a windshield and decrease damage he takes, and at the end of the match, upon receiving fatal blow, actually not at the end of the match, but upon receiving fatal blow once per match, the user is saved by Tanuki. So unlike that piece, the Varmin's Ace in a Hole, the God Helper Tanuki can actually tag out, and that's great. You can choose where you can tag out without needing to wait to somebody or stuff like this. So it's a pretty good piece. I absolutely love it. It is by far one of the best pieces in the game. It works at Fusion 0. It's not that great at Fusion 0, but still have, I believe, 50% chance. So that's quite good. That's quite good. Pulse Abductor is the next piece, guys. Reduces active opponent power generation by 14%. Now you can just ignore that. Still 32% of the opponent's max attack and max health if the opponent meets their final death by the user. That is super good. And whenever an opponent tries to apply a positive combat effect to themselves or their team, the effect copy is applied to the user. So I believe this piece, I don't think it's godlike, because let's be real, stealing stats will only make sense in Crypt and Survival mode, two of the easier things, but it's still quite useful. And copying effects also, it's kind of there, even though you can use it in towers. But the Full Abductor is definitely a great piece, in my opinion. I don't think it's a godlike, but definitely goes into a great tier. And the last one, guys, the last one is the Director's Chair. 70% chance to gain Dispel on successful special attack, and that's at Fusion 4. That's very useful, by the way, for both you and the AI, so it's quite good. For every bar of power spent by the user team, this team gains 23% critical hit damage boost for 20 seconds. this can stack up to 3 times. So currently I can get 69% critical hit damage boost, and I can put that on the support character. That's quite awesome. For every teammate's final death, the Joker gains 77% power generation boost and all incoming attack damage reduction until the end of the match. So the damage reduction by 7%, 7% power generation. The faster a teammate dies, the larger the damage reduction is. Oh, it doesn't say how much is the damage reduction. Yeah, whatever. Just you can disregard this because yeah, usually you don't want to die unless you can sacrifice a noob shadow, something like this. And 50% chance to gain invulnerability when the buffs were removed by the dispel from the user. I reckon this is another godlike piece, guys. And the reason why it's so godlike is because it's versatile. Once you have it at any fusion, you're going to use it more or less all the time. Because critical hits chance is something that you use everywhere. And once you have this piece, all you need to do is to spam special 1, special 2, and you're going to get really nice damage boost. You can do that from Fusion 0 all the way to Fusion 10, and Fusion 10 you can even give it to your main fighter. I reckon this piece is super good. Unlike the Varmint's Ace in a Hole, the Spectre Burning Vengeance, and the God Helper's Tanuki, which you must use on your main character, the Director's Chair is so great because you can use it on your supporting character and still add tons of value, and that's exceptionally good. Alright guys, so I believe this is going to be all for you today. Please let me know where I'm wrong and which piece would you change the tiers of, and yeah, see you guys in the next one. Take care.
Perfect.